Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Williamson at Williamson NFL. What's going on? Minicamp is in the books. OTAs were in the books before. 9 practices. I did 27 hours of coverage. Hope you tuned into some of that. Now, we won't see football until Latrobe for the Steelers, obviously. Long break here. I'm sure coach and every coach in the league told them as they were leaving, don't be the player in the news, because pretty much everything, if your name is in the news between now and camp, it's probably bad. Unless you signed a contract extension, TJ Watt, or got traded or something like that. But mostly it could be bad. But overall, wanted to wrap up camp and mix in some mailbag questions too. It's kind of an abbreviated mailbag. It was good. I enjoyed it. I really liked the vibe I got from these 9 practices, lump them all together. Obviously, the Rodgers signing stole the show, rightfully so. And man, the more you're around him, the more impressive he is as a player and all the above. But weather was good. Like I said, the vibes, the feel, a lot of enthusiasm, players and coaches and people in the organization, et cetera, et cetera. So I think they're probably very happy with what they got done these 9 days. Now, I want to stick with Rodgers. Pretty much everything I've done this week is Rodgers related, but that's the news. The words I kept saying about the word I kept saying over and over with Rodgers is he's just so engaged, that when he steps onto that grass, he is either in the quarterback or offensive coordinator's ear, or, I really think he was like equal student and teacher these 3 days, because he's putting his arm around Will Howard and coaching him up. He's showing Freiermuth things. Like, he's really, really attentive and engaged. I mean, there's a lot of downtime on these practices, and he's only doing really the individual drills, and they were pretty, by the way, way better than the other quarterbacks, way better, for the individual drills. Throwing on the move, a lot of rollout stuff, quick snapping it off, really quick, sharp release, great ball. But he's just a much different thrower than the other quarterbacks, and it isn't even close, which isn't a knock on those guys. He's one of the best throwers of all time. But back to just his... I'm not talking to him. I'm not on the field, but I'm just watching his mannerisms. He's not walking around with his head down, kicking the dirt or anything like that. And he's not like giggling and laughing and having fun. He is just attentive and engaged. And you could tell that he is soaking it all in, and he is sharing a lot of his wisdom as well. And there's like no wasted practice time. I mean, efficient out there. If he's not listening to a coach or asking a question, he's going over to another teammate and talking to them. And I don't think it's about the weather or the US Open. It's about, you run this route like this, or this protection, or try this, or, you just see by his body and mannerisms, engaged and attentive. So if you were down there, trust me, you would warm up more and more and more to this player and what he might bring to the table this year. I'll just leave it at that for now. And if you go up to camp in Latrobe, I bet you'll feel the same way. Now, I mentioned that this was a mailbag show. Many of you asked me about Jalen Ramsey and Jari Alexander. So we'll just kind of lump that together. I brought it up yesterday. I've been bringing it up for a while. I feel like I'm the first one that ever linked Ramsey and the Steelers. And I mentioned Alexander as well. And I guess there have been more and more rumors. Like, I'm not big on, let's talk about rumors or hot topic, try to get clicks. I think you guys know that by now. But I'm getting tons of Twitter feedback. I'm getting a lot of you guys asking, what do you think? Could this be real? I'm going to say it could be real. I prefer Ramsey over Jari Alexander, but Alexander, when healthy, is still a really good corner, an outside corner. He played with Rodgers a little bit in Green Bay too, something. Staying on the field's been an issue, but I also think that there's more to that story about his relationship with the Packers and Who knows? I think there was a lot of drama involved there. But I do prefer Ramsey because he's more versatile. I mean, as of right now, I think their slot corner position is the weakest spot on the defense. And Ramsey is a big, awesome slot that also can play a little nickel linebacker. He can still play outside. I think he'll turn into a safety like the Woodsons at some point. You know, he's that big, talented, more versatile than Alexander, I guess, is the bottom line. Alexander's a free agent. Ramsey is not. But they also told Ramsey, hey, you have an excused absence from Dolphins minicamp, which very much tells me that he will not be a Dolphin this year. And they'll hold out as long as they can to get a pick for him. But inevitably, he probably will get cut if they don't. Obviously, he'd be a lot more attractive if he were free. But I don't think it would be a premium pick at all. I'm thinking it's like a 5th. And the sticking point, though, is I think he's a $21 million cap hit this year. Which sounds like a ton, and it is a lot. And I hate the logic of quit spending so much money on defense on old guys. I just want good players, and and he's a very, very good player. And it would not, especially if you extend Watt, which they will, 99% chance that will open up cap space for this year, for this upcoming, the current year, which you could give to Ramsey and a wide receiver. I don't think this is an either-or situation. Now, again, I don't know if there's any truth to any of this stuff, but many of you asked. I wanted to take it a step further. Miami could also pick up a part of his contract. You know, you give up a higher pick if they pick up stuff, but they have a lot of cap problems, which is the crux of why they're interested in moving him or that he won't be back. There's also been talk of Tyreek and Jonnu Smith could be on the move as well. We've talked about those guys. I'm not saying get all three, but I would just keep talking to the Dolphins, I guess is where I'd go with this. And Alexander would be really attractive too. Again, I just want to get greedy at corner. I want to have the best defense in the league that leads the league in sacks. And top cover guys go a long way for that. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing, we're now deep into the NBA and NHL finals, and BetOnline has more ways to stay in the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on everything. With updated odds on MLB, UFC, and boxing, to tennis and NFL futures, BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here. Paul asks, I like this angle. With full benefit of hindsight would be, let's see how they all play on the field. But I see what he's saying, and it's a good question. With full benefit of hindsight, would you rather have Aaron Rodgers at $13 million for 1 year, traded a third for Geno Smith, traded a first for Matthew Stafford? Not sure it would have cost that, but I hear you. Gave a $33 million contract to Sam Darnold, traded a pick, which would probably be late, by the way, and decent money for Cousins, or lastly, draft Jackson Dart in round 1. Okay. I mean, so we basically don't know how any of these guys are going to play this year, but we found out their cost with the exception of Stafford, you know, what it costs to get these dudes. I'm going to nitpick a little bit, you know, like, yeah, he traded a third for Geno Smith, wouldn't have been as good as the Raiders' third, so maybe it'd cost more. You know what I mean? Again, I don't know that Stafford would have been a 1, but these are good questions. My last choice for sure was draft Jackson Dart in round 1. I still, no matter what, and most of these moves would not preclude this, very much want to draft a quarterback in the first round next year. And I'm digging in, and trust me, we'll talk about these during the downtime. The class looks pretty good. It really does. I always hate to get in ahead of myself with that, is, you know, because it could change so fast. But the class looks really, really good. And I would love to go shopping in those waters as it stands now. Trade a pick and decent money for Cousins. Wouldn't have been terrible. I mean, he played a lot better as the season went on before he got injured. I don't think the money or pick would have been all that substantial. I think you'd be in a similar boat to where you are now. But I don't know, although he played better than Rodgers over the last 2 years, I don't know on his best day he could ever outduel Mahomes or Allen or one of those guys, where I think Rodgers and Stafford in this thing definitely could. Another low one for me on the list would be give $33 million to Sam Darnold. It's too much of a commitment to me. He was very scheme-driven. I don't think Seattle's going to mind it, but I don't know that I'd have a ton of optimism right now if that was the deal we had in place, and then maybe you wouldn't even be in the market for one next year in the first round. Trading a first for Stafford is certainly appealing. He's the best player here, and he would give you the best chance to win the Super Bowl this year. And I think you'd probably get another really high-quality year out of him as well. So that's appealing. But you would also have to pay him. You didn't add that part to the list. And I sure like having Derek Harmon. You know, that first part is, or even if you got Stafford in a fifth for your first, you probably don't have Derek Harmon right now, especially without having a second after the Metcalf trade. So it's appealing, but, you know, Geno for third is definitely appealing. But you didn't have a second. Well, who knows? I mean, I guess you could have lumped them in with the Metcalf trade with Seattle. Give you both day 2 picks for Geno and Metcalf. That's pretty high on the list. I think he's a very underrated player. You probably get 2 or 3 quality years out of him. Again, when we talk quarterbacks, though, I'm all about ceiling, and I don't know that Geno Smith's ceiling is going to outduel Burrow, then Lamar, then Allen to go to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to blow smoke, but my favorite option is having Aaron Rodgers at $13 million for 1 year. Because I think his best day still can rival Stafford's. And a lot of it, guilty as charged, is recency biased and watching him for 3 straight practices. I think he's going to be really good. I really do. And I don't know if he'll hold up. Who knows? I don't know if these guys will hold up. Geno, Stafford, Cousins, etc. But I love where they sit now without having given up any picks or cap space to go get the first round quarterback next year. And I very much believe, at least as much as anyone on this list, other than maybe Stafford, it gives you the best chance to win this year too. So I know that's hindsight and all, it's Rodgers for me. Matt Sable. Did Arthur Smith seem to throw Russ under the bus for the offense at the end of the last year? Is he feeling the pressure for this year? I assume you're asking if Smith's feeling the pressure. I don't know about the pressure part. I think we better see noticeable improvement with the offense. You know, yards per carry needs to go up. Red zone needs to go up. Fewer sacks. I think you have a better quarterback. Year 2, you got your running back you want. So I want to see progress, but I don't know that he's like on the hot seat right this minute as offensive coordinator. I would not go that far at all. I mean, they seem very happy with him inside the walls. As for Russ, the more I dug in, I don't think they, back to that quarterback option, I don't think they really even considered bringing him back. And I can't stress this enough, that say what you guys want about Mike Tomlin, but he has won a lot of games in the NFL. You know who else has won a lot of games in the NFL? Sean Payton with Denver and previously with the Saints, and Pete Carroll with Seattle and now the Raiders. Those 3 might end up in the Hall of Fame. All of them chose to go away from Russell Wilson. They all, Peyton didn't choose to bring him in. Tomlin did. But they all, without hesitation, frankly, after working with him for at least a year, chose door number 2. That doesn't mean that he's an a-hole or nobody likes him. That's not what I'm saying. It's just he's limited. And the heavy film watchers will always tell you, all these offensive coordinators, and this goes back for 10 years now, will install their offense, but inevitably it becomes the Russ, dump it down or moon ball. And that's just not a wide enough package. And as the season went on, the rest of the league realized that he isn't that hard to play against. So I don't exactly know what Smith's comments were with Russ, but throwing him under the bus is kind of deserved. Last thing I got, Joe Markusik asks, what are your thoughts on the Steelers wide receiver coach calling Calvin Austin III the wide receiver 2? I didn't hear that until today, and it kind of shocked me. So I reacted to this live on the radio with Wes and Dale today, and I was kind of shocked that he said those exact words. But after talking it and processing it, talking it through, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, he's coming off a pretty good year. He's an improving player. It's certainly not Wilson, Woods, Scotty Miller, Skoranek is a wide receiver 2. Like you guys, I want to add another that goes past Austin, but he is the wide receiver 2 now. And if I was asked that question directly from one of you, who's the Steelers wide receiver 2 right now? I would say Calvin Austin. To expand upon it even more, we know that they love 12 and 13 personnel. So there will be a lot of snaps with only 2 receivers on the field, one of which is Metcalf. And Austin, contrary to popular belief because of his size, is not just a slot player. He is quite good and improving at the NFL level of lining up on the outside, on the line of scrimmage or off, as a typical wide receiver. So in two wide out sets, it's Austin and Metcalf right now. Now, they look very different. And I've told you this before, but I like to reiterate it. But his last year in college, Austin played like 90% of his snaps outside. I mean, so he gets off press coverage. He does not get bullied as much as you think. He's improving. He has toughness to him. He'll go over the middle. He'll take hits. Yeah, he's small. But we also mentioned this on the air. Side note, there aren't many top 2s, wide receiver pairings in the league right now faster than Metcalf and Austin. And I'd have to think through it. Tyreek and Waddle, that's just pure straight line speed, win a race. Steelers pairing is burners. And, side note on Rodgers too. Went and looked at some of his advanced metrics, and he was like the 3rd best deep ball outside the number, Russell Wilson moonball stuff in the league last year. There were some things that weren't great, but his deep ball outside the number, which is not going to go away from the Arthur Smith offense, is still top notch. And or it was last year. And these 2 can fly. So again, this is all by design, folks. All right, everyone have a great weekend. I am out. Take care.